All right, welcome everybody. My name is Cohen with Sundog IT, and I've got joining me today Rich Cackery. He's in account management with us, and many of you know Rich. If you've called up and needed anything from our organization pretty much outside of service, Rich is the guy you talk to, so thanks for helping me out today, Rich.
Welcome.
He's going to make sure that the question and answers get answered, so he'll interrupt me at times because, boy, once I get going, sometimes I forget to check the Q&A. And the most important thing here is this is a really informal presentation. I want it to be interactive. I would have loved to have allowed everyone to be able to hop on and share video and audio, but we have so many registrants that I don't think that would have been possible. And the link went out on social media, which means you can get those Zoom bombers if you've heard about them. We don't want that right now. So I do have it locked down where I can't hear you, I can't see you, but the Q&A is a perfect opportunity to be like, hey, wait, Cohen, say that again so I understand it. We are recording this as well, so you'll be able to re-review it if I go a little bit quickly. It should go really well today, and I'm excited to share a bunch of Teams chat stuff with you. I'm going to try and keep it to about 30 minutes. If Q&A takes us longer, no problem whatsoever. Happy to go a little bit longer to get your questions answered, but I do want to make these more just bite-sized pieces for us all. Try and provide a lot of really good content, but do that in a short period of time. We will be doing these on a regular basis. This is going to be our Wednesday webinar series, we're calling it, and today is how do you become a Microsoft Chat Teams Ninja. I guess without further ado, we'll get started. I do want to let you know, if you want to ask a question, move your mouse to the bottom of your screen, and you're going to see an icon for Q&A. Just click on that, type in your question, and like I said, either Rich or myself will be monitoring that, and we will get those questions answered. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see my Microsoft Teams. This is live, so it's the real deal. All right. So as you can see, I've got a lot going on. Now, Microsoft Teams is an incredibly in-depth program, and really what it is it's a portal into the Microsoft 365 platform. More and more things keep getting added on to Microsoft Teams, but at its core, it's a collaboration utility. Collaboration from chat, just typing back and forth, to audio, making calls with each other, to full video calls, as well as video meetings where you've got 10, 20, 30, 50 people on one of those meetings. But you can also share files and share other applications within Teams. So a very, very versatile product and so much to go into. We could have a whole day webinar, and I know you guys wouldn't be ready for that kind of a snooze fest. That's why we're going to do it in bite-sized chunks. And like I said, today we're really going to focus on chat because I've been using Microsoft Teams for quite a while now, and I'm in so many different chat sessions. And it's been neat to see the little tips and tricks that Microsoft has added on in order to make Teams and Teams chat more effective for us. Some of this may be really basic for some of you. Some of it may be really advanced for some of you. Some of you may be just starting off in Teams and you're not going to maybe understand the application that I'm talking about, how you would apply that knowledge to what you're doing right now. But trust me, the more you use it and the more people you're collaborating with, some of this stuff is going to make your life just a lot easier. All right, so we'll get started here. First, if I wanted to start a chat with someone, how do you do that, right? So the easiest way at the very top, I'm just going to click up there and I'm going to type in Rich's email. So you want to find everyone by their email address. And if I type in Rich, it shows me him right there. I can click on Rich, and here is our last chat session. What's really cool about that is it remembers the chat. So we can go way back in time to be able to see, hey, Rich, didn't I ask you to do this? Or what is it that you told me? I can scroll up and see our chat history, which is really cool that it retains that in this format, which is awesome. And remember, Microsoft Teams, it's not just an app you can install on your computer. You can go to portal.office.com on any computer, on any device, anywhere in the world, and you're going to have access to Teams and access to the entire chat history like I'm showing you here right now. So with Rich and I, we go back and forth on a lot of stuff all day. If you look on the left side of my screen, you're going to see all the different chats that I've had, and they go on and on and on and on. I'm probably in 8 to 20 different chats every day with a variety of people and a variety of organizations, even outside my own organization. So first, some basics. Here's a basic chat. I could be like, hey, Rich, And then Rich can respond to it, and we can just go back and forth typing. One thing that's really powerful, that may seem really simple, this is the one I probably use the most, there, question mark. Because I don't know if he's at his desk, I don't know if he's in the restroom, I don't know if he's at lunch, and then he can respond back and let me know, and then I can engage with Rich. Simple thing you can do from here within this chat, at the upper right-hand corner, you can just click on a regular call. So I can click on audio call, and we can have audio communication, just like on the phone system. You do need a microphone and speakers, and if you have a webcam, every webcam not only does have a camera, but it has a microphone built in. And I'm assuming if you have a webcam, you have speakers, so you'd be able to make those calls right now. And any laptop that you buy will have microphone, speakers, and a webcam built in. So it'd be really easy if Rich and I were typing back and forth and I'm just tired of the call or tired of typing, I can just initiate a call with them. But why would I call them when I could video chat with them? So I could click on video call, and it'll go ahead and Rich, can you see my screen just to make sure? Beautiful, okay. So I can hit video call, and then Rich and I, we can't do it right now because we're in the Zoom meeting, but we would be able to see each other face to face. What's important about this is we all know that face to face is one of the best forms of communication, because not only can you hear the tone in someone's voice, right? But you also get the facial expressions, which is really important. So this is a neat way you can go from chat to call or video call directly. Click on it sometime, play with it, you're gonna love it. So Rich and I can go back and forth, but then if I wanted to add someone to the conversation, which I do all the time, I can go up to the upper right-hand corner here, and you're gonna see add people. If I click on that, I can start typing in another name. So I could type in my service manager, Dale, and I click on it, and he would instantly be joined to this conversation, because a lot of times when you're chatting with someone, you're like, oh, you know, what did Stephanie say? Well, let's just bring Stephanie into the conversation, and we can start asking those questions with her, which is just super cool from a communication platform standpoint. So chat, easy, type, hit send, off you go. But then what are all these other icons at the bottom? So if I wanted to be very adamant about something, hey, Rich, do this. He's used to me saying that. I can hit send, and I can put some color to it, right? But sometimes, you know, it's hey, Rich, do this, do these things. I'll say, do these things. And I can do bullet points. And a nice way to send it off. We all know there's different forms of communication out there, and email is one form of communication. And email is great for if it is a to-do list. Hey, I need you to do these things, and you list them out. But email is problematic when there's a lot of back and forth, let alone when you bring in multiple people and there's 8 people replying to the same message, right? But it does have its place. But that's where chat's really nice for that back and forth dialogue that you have right now. But it does, I just want to let you know, give you some formatting options if you wanted to do something more with your chat. Usually I've maybe used that 2 or 3 times in my entire team's history. But it is there if you want it. Go ahead and take advantage of it. You can also, a really cool feature is you can mark something urgent. So if I went there, I can come down here to the exclamation point, and I can set the delivery option. So important means it's going to show up on Rich's side with an exclamation point by it, and he's going to know, ooh, there's something important. Rich, could you send me one that's urgent really quick? So the urgent piece, what's really nice about that one is not only does it mark it red and puts it out there as, hey, this is something really important, but when you clicked on it, you see how it just made a pop-up on my screen? I don't know if you can see that or not, but I just got a pop-up from Rich saying urgent. And what's gonna happen there is every 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes, I will get a pop-up until I respond to Rich about, hey, urgent message, urgent message, urgent message. So that can be really nice if you're working from home or someone is trying to get a hold of someone from working from home. You can go ahead and put urgent so they know as soon as they sit down at their desk, they're going to see that pop up and they're going to engage with you. Just in case they get distracted in email or something else, it's a nice way to call attention to, hey, I'm chatting with you right now and I need some help. The next one is the paperclip. Just like an email, it's an attachment. So that's kind of neat where I can click on that and I can upload from my computer. If I wanted to, if I had Windows Explorer open or my desktop available, I could actually just grab a file and I could drag and drop it right into here. And that would be the same as copying it or uploading it from the paperclip icon. But for now, we'll just use that. It's really simple. I click on the paperclip, I go to upload from my computer, I pick whatever it is, and it's loading, done, and I hit send. And now Rich has a copy of our logo. He might have been asking me for that. In fact, I was just asking our marketing intern for one of those. And you can see over here, actually, while we've been talking, he sent me the next version of our logo in the format that I wanted. But you can send Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, PDFs, you name it. Any file that you want to be able to include in the chat. It's just a nice way of being able to send the file to someone mid-conversation, right? The other thing is, of course, we've got emojis. Emojis are good. We all have to remember, and they're really important in email especially, when you aren't able to hear someone's voice and you aren't able to see their facial expressions, sometimes it gets hard to understand someone's tone. And that's why emojis were created. Because you could say something and the person on the other end could take it a completely different way, but if you put a smiley face on it, they know that you're just kidding and you're in the right frame of mind. So I'll go ahead and put Rich might have said something funny, and I'll respond back to him with that little icon. But I do highly encourage you to add some emotion to your text so people know the state of mind that you're in. Because remember, they don't know. They're just getting your text and they're reading into it, whatever their current state is. So the emojis are really helpful. But of course, GIFs. Yeah, there's Rich. The GIFs, memes are just fun these days. So Teams actually has that built in. Within our organization, the memes fly all the time. So you can click on there. I can click on funny. I'll just type in, right? And it'll give me a bunch of stuff like Rich might have said something funny. So who doesn't love the Minions? That could be my response. So just remember at the bottom, you can click on GIF. There you go, Rich. There's stickers as well. Stickers are okay. I'm not a sticker guy. I'm more of a meme guy, but they do have them available there. Again, it really is just coming down to how can you communicate emotion in these chats. Yes, Mike, you can delete whole chats. I've got a question from the audience from Mike. You can delete whole chats from conversation. And in fact, that's a great point. Let's say I sent something to Rich, and I did this the other day where I sent something to someone that I didn't want to have out there forever. So after they received it and they got the information, if you move your mouse over to either the image, or I'll even scroll up to something that I typed, and if you hover your mouse there, you're going to see 3 dots. And the 3 dots are going to become your friend within Teams, not only in individual chats, but something I'm going to show you here in a minute too. But if I click on more options, one thing that's nice is I can edit, right? So if I wanted to change that text that I sent, I could say, hey, Rich, do these things. And then I could do comma, please. And I can resend to them. Now it's edited that text. It does mark it as edited, so someone knows you changed it, but we all do spelling errors, so that's kind of a common thing these days. But if I go into 3 dots, I can also mark delete here. So I can delete an individual message as well. And I can undo it if I want to. The person on the other end, they just see the chat that I typed in, that just gets removed. So that's how you can do it on an individual message basis too, which is really cool. All right, and we got one from Miriam. Does adding a person create a new chat, or would they have access to the entire previous thread? You know what, Miriam? It'll actually prompt you, depending on the chat situation, it can prompt you to include the previous conversation. But in fact, we're gonna go ahead and do that right now, and I'll show you what happens in an individual chat. I'm gonna add Josh. I'm gonna hit add. So what happened here is I just added Josh to our chat conversation, and it didn't prompt me for anything, which means Josh is only going to see what we type now going forward. When you have a group chat, which I'm going to show you here in a second, you can add people to it. It does give the option to bring them into the previous chat history, but for the most part, they eliminated that as being a feature, just because how do you remember everything that's happened in the last 6 weeks with that person in the chat session? And chances are, they don't need to see all of that. So right now it's just disabled if you bring it in. So you would just have to re-ask your question. Hey, Josh, Rich and I are wondering, do you have the latest logo with our tagline on it? And Josh could go ahead and respond to it, right? But let's say I've been chatting now and I want to remove Josh. I can go ahead and click and I can remove him from the chat. And now it's just back to Rich and I. So really easy to bring someone in and out. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mark those answered. Great questions, I love it. Going back down to the chat piece here, I mentioned we have the stickers that we've got access to. You can also schedule a meeting. Like let's say Rich and I were talking and you know what, Rich, let's go ahead and put this off. I've got to go to another meeting, but let's go ahead and schedule a meeting right now for you and I to continue the conversation. And we can go ahead and set the calendar event, put in the title, the date, the time, everything that we need, any notes for the meeting, and hit send, and it'll create a meeting on Rich's calendar in his Outlook and on mine as well, which is really cool. And then there's also just some other apps that you can go ahead and access from Stream. You can embed videos in here, but you can add a bunch of other apps to this. Something else that's important is if you look at the very top, you've got files. So I showed you how I can upload a file into the chat session so Rich and I can go back and forth. But let's say he and I were working on a particular project or just collaborating on something, and there's a Word document and spreadsheet that we're going to need to reference quite a bit. I can actually come into files here and I can add a new file. So I would be able to drag and drop files in here. And in fact, I'll just show you, I'm going to add a different one. We'll do this one. So I can add PDFs, I can add a bunch of other stuff within the file section. And now Rich and I have access to that as our chats continue. So that's a really cool way to just be able to put some collaboration files in an area within that chat that you can reference back and forth. And if I go back to chat by moving my mouse to the top, clicking on chat, you can see that I added it here and it shows us within the chat, but it's in files for perpetuity, or 3 dots are your friend, right? I can click on the 3 dots and I can download, I can do anything else that I want with that particular file. All right, so going back to chat, and the last thing is, again, you can add in more applications. Teams, like I said, is a very robust product, but for the most part, if you all just stuck within chat, throwing in some emojis, adding your attachments when you need to, your files, and understanding marking urgent, that can be a great way of just increasing the collaboration you have with those individual people. And Rich, I know I'm not even giving you a chance to ask. I looked over and I see Amy is asking, are shared files group editable or view only? They are editable. So if it was a Word document or a spreadsheet, I would be able to open it up, edit the Word document, and save it, and it would save it within the file section. So this is a neat way that we can make adjustments to a file as Rich and I are collaborating and have those adjustments saved within this file section. Really cool thing is Rich and I could open up the same Word document simultaneously, and I could see him typing and me typing. So it doesn't actually lock the file, which is nice. So you could actually collaborate together on that. The other thing, if I click on the plus sign up here, this is how you add other apps to your chat session. And I can add OneNote. OneNote, that's a whole nother webinar that we would do, but OneNote is a fantastic program for taking notes, for coming up with checklists, documenting whatever it might be. And you can see I have a ton of OneNote notebooks already pre-populated, but I could create a new OneNote notebook for Rich and I. What's really important about this is about something Rich and I are doing and collaborating on. So rather than creating files that we're storing somewhere else, like on a server or somewhere in the cloud that the whole company has access to, and it's one more file we're cluttering everything up with, Rich and I can add files, create files, modify files. We can do everything that we want, right? And then what we'll do is when we're done, we'll move those files from our chat session to the server or to the company cloud. And then we can just delete our chat session and all that stuff's gone because we don't need to keep any of that data. We only kept the stuff that we needed. And we didn't clutter up an area with a bunch of junk that we were using for collaboration. So that's a really neat component to being able to add OneNote notebooks, files, movies, anything you wanted to an individual chat session. All right, so I wanted to keep this brief, right? Let me look. There's another. So Brianna says, when you add a file to chat, does it create a shared folder in OneDrive? No, it doesn't. It stays within the chat session itself. You can put the file in OneDrive, and you can actually, if you noticed when I clicked on the paperclip, I can go to OneDrive and I can link to that file from my OneDrive in the chat session. But again, we're getting further outside of chat, so I want to stay focused on that. Let's see here. And then I have one from Heidi. How does chat differ from a team? That's a great question. So within teams, you have, and I'm going to be really quick on this. Here I've got a marketing team, and by default it creates a general. And here's where there's just a lot of chat. And this is anything I type in here, everyone that's a member of the team gets to see. Chat is just communication outside of teams. Why would you do that? Well, one-on-one communication, I don't need to type. If Rich and I are collaborating on something, and I don't need to create a whole team around what we're doing, we'll just do it within our chat. We've got access to our files, like I showed you, our OneNote notebook, and that's just something, that's Rich and I's space, right? Or if I brought Josh in, it's just our space. It's not a whole team or department within the organization. So this is a simple way to collaborate easily without having to create a Microsoft team and the infrastructure that goes behind that as well. I hope that helps, but we'll get into Teams in another webinar for sure. This is just a really easy way for collaboration amongst one or many. And then Jeff, you have, how would you arrange chats and meetings on the left side? Exactly what we're getting to. This is the exciting part to me, and it's exciting to me when you start having a ton of people that you're chatting with, inside your organization, outside your organization, keeping it all in order, can be difficult if you don't know a few tips and tricks that we're going to get into right now. So what that means is, if you look on mine, you're going to see recent here. So everything that pops up as we're talking goes to the recent. So the most recent person that I chatted with, or the most recent people that chatted with me, you can see Dale actually just reached out to me during this webinar with a question about Brian on Tuesday. So that popped up to my top. But over time, he's going to keep scrolling down. And like I said, if you look, you'll see all the different chat sessions I've had. Well, what if in this case it was Dale, but in the case of Rich and I, what if I talk with Rich on a pretty regular basis, and I want to make sure that he's always accessible to me. I don't want to have to, every time I want to talk to Rich, go up to the top, type in Rich's address, click on him to find our previous chat. So what I can do, again, 3 dots are your friends, right? I can click on the 3 dots and I can pin it. So when I pin, it now brought Rich up into this pin section. So all of these chats here, every one of them stays there. So that is great. You can see that I have a bunch of these. From COVID chat, which is an internal chat session we have about the COVID crisis with our clients, and that's how we're collaborating as a team, right? I didn't need to create, Heidi, a whole team around COVID. All what we did was create a chat session that COVID is the topic, so we know whenever we have something that we want to discuss with everyone in our organization COVID related, we just go to the COVID chat and we put that information in there. This M6, this is with companies outside of Sundog. So this is IT companies from around the nation that I'm together with, all talking about our strategies, tips, tricks for the COVID-19 crisis to try and be successful through it. But in this case, I got Rich. So I pinned Rich and he's there. And what I can do is, let's say, Rich is my #1 communicator and the guy I collaborate with all the time. So I'm going to put him at the top. If I click with my left mouse button and hold on Rich, I can slide Rich up to the very top. So now it's super easy for me to be able to find him and collaborate with him. So over time, as more and more people come through on my recent, Rich will always stay there. And it's super easy for me to find him. You can see I did that with Camera Chat is another chat that I'm in with people outside my organization. Boot Camp is the same way. But for us, we have an all staff chat, which is just a fun one. So, especially with shelter in place, keeping in contact with all the people that are working remotely. This was a neat way that, we just kind of came together through an all staff chat together. And this is where in the mornings we say morning, or in the evening we say good night. Of course, the memes come in. Of course, they're usually historical video games or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But it's just a fun way for us to be able to just enjoy each other's companies and give each other a laugh. But we don't want to take up space in a team. The team is more organizational, company, not serious, but that's where real data needs to be stored and real collaboration needs to be happen. All the one-off, just fun stuff that you do, or the one-off conversations, that's where chat is incredibly powerful. So if you look, if I go to the upper right-hand corner, you're going to see 17 people are in this chat. I can click on it, and I can see everyone that's a member of this chat session. So chat can be with one person, or like I said, it can be with multiple people. It can be for fun. It could be for collaboration on a particular project before you go live. But it's just a really easy way to be dynamic and work together with others in your organization. All right. Yes, Mike, I will work on a funnier name for the 3 dots. I'll get right on that, man. And then Janet, how do you use Teams with folks from outside the organization? Just their email addresses? Do they need Teams as well? It really helps if people have Teams. So the reason why we're doing a Zoom meeting right now is Zoom is a super easy technology for people with a diverse knowledge of technology. So some meaning very technical, and then the others that aren't. So for the others that aren't, Zoom is a super easy way for them to be able to hop on, see video, contribute. It's just a great product for that. There's a whole set of security stuff around Zoom that is why it's not recommended for the organization. Organizational communication, Teams is phenomenal for that. You can invite people from other organizations into your chat sessions like I have. And the way you do that is you would come up here and you would just type in their email address. And so I could do, I'm just going to make one up, Steve at sunlight.com. And what you're going to see is search for Steve at sunlight.com externally. I'm going to click on that, and chances are we're not going to find. Yeah, it says it couldn't find Steve at sunlight.com. But if it does find them, it means Microsoft is aware of them, and Steve has a Microsoft account. So there's a high probability Steve is on Teams, or Steve has on Microsoft technology that will allow him to be able to contribute to Teams. Most likely, 99%, it means Steve has Teams. So this is really cool. If you know another organization, like for me, so many of our clients have Teams that I've had them communicate to me via Teams, and I've added them to my team in some of the chats that I have. And I can just come up, type in their email address, search externally, and I can find them, which is really, really cool. All right, let's see. Did I answer that okay, Rich? How do you, Jamie, how do you edit an email? So editing an email, we'll cover that probably in a different webinar. Right now I'm trying to focus on Microsoft Teams chat just to keep us within a certain time frame, hopefully 30 minutes-ish. So you know what, Jamie, you can reach out to us directly. Our phone number is 815-991-2402. And we'll get that answer for you, all about getting the information out. But today I'm just going to focus on Teams. I don't know what Mike's saying. And then Lizzie Garcia, silly question, but if you have a Gmail email, you wouldn't be able to invite them externally. Correct. I assume you mean, but if they have a Gmail email, correct. They will not be able to collaborate on Teams. Now, one thing I have to say is the pace of change and the pace of innovation within Microsoft and within Teams, it's rapid. I mean, they are expanding the capabilities of it, expanding the platforms it runs on. Like Microsoft Teams will run on Android, iPhone, a Chromebook, and just about any platform out there. You can run Teams, but you need a Microsoft account to be able to run Teams. More and more organizations are adopting Teams. Microsoft has won that battle when it comes to office communication, whether it's a nonprofit, dentist office, or a manufacturer, or whatever. Microsoft is becoming the platform for that. I know Gmail's great, Google's Drive is great, Google Hangouts is great, all that's great. But when it really comes down to true collaboration, especially when security is something you want to be able to control, Microsoft Teams is there. So point to that is more and more people are onboarding with Microsoft 365, and more people are starting to use Teams as their collaboration. In fact, I'll show you. If you look on the left here, if I click on contacts at the top, these are all the people that I have communicated with on Teams. And all these people here, none of them are in my organization. They're all outside the organization. So it is amazing how many people are actually utilizing Microsoft Teams technology. All right, let's see. You bet, Lizzie. Yeah, Jamie, meant to say email address for someone I have entered in a team chat. You can try it. I mean, by all means, try it. I haven't actually done that in the last probably 6 months. So my bet, if I had to guess, is going to be it's just not going to work. But always try it. Just type in their name, search externally, and if they come up, that means Microsoft has identified them, and Microsoft thinks it can communicate to them, and there's a high probability you're going to be able to do it. Last thing on that, though, there are organizations that restrict access from external communication. So your organization that you work for may have limited the ability or removed the ability to be able to add people externally into Microsoft Teams, or the organization you're reaching out to, they may be on Microsoft 365. They may have Teams, and you know that person over there uses Teams and loves it. But when you go to reach out to them, they're not able to engage with you from Teams. With NIU, it's the same way. They're on Teams, they use it all the time, but I'm not able to communicate with them, which, I wish I could. There is a way that individual organizations can open up Teams to other individual organizations rather than being a global setting. So just ask your IT provider, Sundog, and we can always talk to you about how to do that and get that set up for you. Got one more question, it looks like here, from Anonymous. What if you try to connect someone outside your organization and get the message that states cannot set up a chat because you're, yes, that's exactly what I just talked about. That means they are not set up to be able to do that. Someone has actually limited that particular ability. So again, if you're a Sundog customer, feel free to reach out to us. We can talk to you about that, the pros and cons of doing it. Within our organization, we open up some things like chat to others outside the organization, but there are some security concerns that you need to be aware of so you can navigate those appropriately. All right, with that, I think, oh yeah, I almost forgot. Those that stayed on, it looks like actually there's more on now. Here's something really important. So these chats that I'm in, you can see, right, just being on this webinar, multiple people have been chatting with me. Sometimes, especially in a large group chat, like let's say all staff, you could be working on something and you're trying to focus, and Teams is just blowing up. Bleep, bleep, bleep. You're getting messages. This person chatted, this person chatted. They're off having fun or they're off collaborating on something, but you really want to focus over here. Well, you can quiet that chat or mute it. And how you do that is we go up to the 3 dots. I click on that. And you can see I have all staff muted right now. Hopefully they don't know that. I'm going to go ahead and go back to it. And you can select mute. And what mute means is you'll still get all the chats. They'll still be there. They'll be marked bold. And that's why when some of these happen, you didn't see a pop-up on my screen because I have them muted. All that's retained. But you won't get the pop-ups that distract you from it. And then when you want to unmute, because you want to be notified when someone is reaching out on chat, you can click on the dots again. Oops, sorry, I'll go to mute. And then you click on the dots again and go to unmute. As well as, if I click on those dots, this is a really cool one because there's times where I might have read something from Rich and it's like, oh, you know, I got to respond to that. I got to remember to do that. Well, if I leave it as read, I may not remember. So I can come back to Rich's chat, and I'll go up here and do it actually, to Rich's chat, and I will mark as unread. That's perfect. So now I can come back to it, see it's bold, and be like, oh, that's right, I got to get a hold of Rich. And I can click on that, and I can keep our chat conversation going, which is super, super cool to be able to do. So that, and yeah, I think that covers it. I don't see any more questions. Any more questions, Rich?
I don't see any either, no.
All right, beautiful. So with that, that'll just wrap up our How to Become a Microsoft Teams Ninja on our Wednesday webinar series. We're going to be coming out these more and more. Oh, does that work for urgent?
Yeah, so we just had one pop in.
Just one got popped in. Does that work for urgent messages? Yes, the marking unread. Yeah, and I'm not sure what you're referring to. It could be also the if you want to block all messages from coming in. I will show you how to do that. I really don't recommend it. But if you want to go offline, let's say, in the very top, you're going to see either an avatar that you put in there or a blank one. But if you click on it, you can actually come down to do not disturb and mark it do not disturb. You won't get anything. Problem is you have to remember to turn that back off. So I never use it. But do not disturb is a way that you can turn off all incoming messages that might be coming. All right, we're getting a lot of good jobs, good jobs. Yes, so the question is, will we do more sessions? So this is our Wednesday webinar series. What I'm gonna be doing after this is we're gonna send out a survey to all of you. One, we wanna know how often do you want them? We're gonna wanna know how long do you want them to be? I'm trying to keep it within a half hour. I can make them an hour and just cover more things. So we're gonna reach out to you for that. And we're gonna reach out to what topics do you want us to cover? We are doubling down on the amount of information that we're putting out there for our clients, and we only want to put out information that you all see as something that's going to be helpful to you. So when that survey comes out, if you could please just take a few minutes, fill that out, and then we'll come out with what the regular schedule is going to be. At this point, we're definitely doing one a month, a Wednesday webinar. I'm really actually hoping that we get it to one a week, but it's really going to come down to you all and how much you want from us. So with that, I want to thank Rich again. You were wonderful, Rich. Amazing. You did marvelous. And thank you all for taking some time to come out and hang out with us on this beautiful day. And again, you can reach out to sundogit.com if you have any questions, or 815-991-2400. And with that, you all have a wonderful week. Take care now.